Okay, so the 7th edition of the ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup is set to begin on the 17th of October in the United Arab Emirates and Oman. The West Indies are set to open their campaign against England on the 23rd of October, but there are growing concerns about the readiness of the unit to mount a successful defence of the title they won back in 2016. Ace all-rounder Andre Russell is currently nursing a hamstring injury picked up during an ongoing Indian Premier League, and there has been no word on whether he will be fit for the tournament. The injury cloud is also hanging over left-arm pacer Obed McCoy, whose participation in the CPL was curtailed by injury. The form of some players also a concern, as the likes of Shimron Hetmar, Nicholas Pooran and even captain Kyron Powell have not produced any substantial batting performances since the IPL resumed in the UAE. So how concerned should the Caribbean be about these issues, and how should Cricket West Indies go about dealing with them? Veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reds Perreira, celebrating in 2021 50 years of cricket commentary, joining us now on Zoom. Reds, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Great to have you on.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And just back to your question, how worried we should be? We should be concerned, especially going back to the 50 over World Cup, where we had injuries, and we know all about that. But I'll take your next question, Lance.
Yeah, all right. The IPL has been on now for a couple of weeks since it resumed. Several of the key West Indies players have been involved, but as I just mentioned, nothing substantial from the batsmen who, are expected to carry the weight of the West Indies effort in the T20 World Cup. Your thoughts on the form that you've been seeing from the players in the IPL?
Well, very below par. Hetmar did play well today, batted very matured, and that's the kind of Hetmar you like to see. Don't know why he was demoted in the order, and it all came out good for his side. But back to your posing question about Russell. I've seen no statement coming out of the franchise saying that he's on the mend, that he should be fit in 2 games' time. I've seen nothing coming out from the West Indies board saying that they have been in touch with Russell. Now, they might have been in touch with Russell. Dr. Mansingh might have been doing that. Head selector Roger Harper might be doing that, but nothing said. And if it was said, it will simply help the Caribbean journalists, Caribbean cricket fans, that, they are, in fact, looking at the situation. Because, Lance, and the rest of your panel, October 10th is my information when we can change a player. You mentioned McCoy, very talented, key to the attack. Russell, key to the overall performance with just about everything. And we do not want to come down to, a situation where on the 8th we don't know what is the position. And we really need to get some information coming from some quarter. And I would like to believe that Roger Harper, Dr. Mansingh himself, have been on the phone and, been in touch. The other point I'd like to make is that McCoy only had a couple of games in the CPL in St. Kitts. And I would like to hope that McCoy is now in Jamaica with Dr. Mansingh, getting maybe the best treatment that may be available in the Caribbean, where Dr. Mansingh could say on the 8th or on the 9th to Roger Harper and his selectors, he is good to go. He is almost 98% ready. You'll have a few more days in the camp. Those things you like to believe, are taking place. But right now, we don't know because we're not getting that kind of information.
And Reds, as we sit here and we discuss the readiness, of course, the fitness of these Windies players, I was reading an article, and I believe it was on the ICC or the Cricket West Indies website, one of the two, and they were they were basically interviewing Kieran Pollard, and he was talking about, experience trumps everything, because he was drawing on the fact that this Windies team, they have a lot of experienced players, and that, you can't take away anything from them because they've been put in so many different situations before, and they know how to overcome them. Of course, no mention of fitness. So does experience trump that? It's my question to you.
Well, I can well understand the captains focusing on the experience, but the experience is not going to just carry us into the competition. We have a first two tough games against England and South Africa, and experience does count. But you need to have a team that can perform on the day, and a team that is going to be mobile. Now, in the World Cup, 50 over, we played in cool conditions in England despite the bad performance. In the UAE, we are hearing that the temperatures are going to be very, very high, very, very high. And I think it will be left up to a number of players to put together performances in those two matches. We need to win one of two, and we are carrying 7 players over 32. Experience is there, but fitness might, in fact, be a factor in the long run.
Yeah, and Reds, as we're touching on the captain, Kieran Pollard, do you feel as if he is the best equipped to lead us to a 4th title?
Well, there's no discussion about that now. I mean, he has been appointed captain. He's been leading the 2020 side and the 50 side all season. So that question is out of the window. He is the captain, and it is up to him to lead his troops. He's got to make himself and the selectors has got to make some strong decisions of what their best 11 will be for the first game, for the first 2 games. We then have maybe 2, if you can say in a World Cup, 2 lesser teams. Everybody there is capable of beating each other and causing an upset. And I would think that they got to go in to the World Cup believing in themselves, hoping that all the experience, all the players who have performed worldwide can put it together. Just on another point, we haven't touched on the fact that Chris Gayle has moved on from the CPL. He probably made the right decision. Of course, some people are saying if he was getting runs, he wouldn't have left. But have they been in touch with Chris Gayle to find out how he's doing? I mean, he's had maybe a bit of a disappointment not being played, having to leave, which is probably his best decision. But what is the psychological effect on him? How is he feeling? What is his program? All those bits of information we really do not know. We haven't heard anything more since he announced that he is heading to the actual venue.
Reds, what about those who will say that, look, with the concerns that have been raised about fitness and form, we should probably take a step back, because the fact is the World Cup isn't now, and it isn't as if we started the World Cup and players are out of form, and there's nothing to suggest that form before the World Cup means form at the World Cup. And then our captain saying that these players have been on the merry-go-round many times, they know their way around, trust in them when they get on the Ferris wheel to know which way to spin it. What say you about that?
Well, I would think that the form of some players in St. Kitts look fairly promising. We haven't seen a repeat of that form. We haven't seen a repeat. And some of the form did come from players who were not selected. So, we really just must hope that everything will fall together, that we'll get the start from Lewis and Simmons that we really need. Whether Gayle bats at number 3 or who bats at number 3, But unless you put runs on the board, George, you are not going to be competitive.
Yeah.
You got to put runs on the board.
Yes.
And you have to have a bowling attack that is good enough to take wickets and take wickets early.
Yeah.
You aren't going to win with no 150, 160.
You are correct. You are correct, sir. Last, the Reds, in the minute we have, what about those who also say, look, so many complaints about so many different things. It's almost as if we're cutting that tamarind switch early with which to beat Roger Harper and the selectors if this all goes badly in the World Cup. And we're not doing ourselves any favors by building up what some would say are negative vibes around the team. As an experienced head, what would you say to that?
Well, I was never spanked at school. I think we had a structure that believed in talking to students when they might have gone the wrong way. But, you know, as one person said, the milk has been spilt. Let us get behind them. Let us see how it will turn out in the long run. But I understand there's a review being planned of the selection policy. I learned of that today. There's been no official announcement. So there seems to be a review planned after the World Cup. I'm not wishing Roger Harper and company, any report that would be damaging, but there will be a review, and a lot of people feel that we should go back to the 5 selectors that won us many, many test matches over the years, starting from 1948.
Reds, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much. Reds Perreira, he said the milk has been spilt. Get the feeling that Reds didn't like the team that was picked to go to the T20 World Cup. There's cricket, exciting T10 action on the home of champions, where the European Cricket Championship is drawing to a climax. Catch the next set of matches starting 2 a.m., 3 Eastern Caribbean time on Tuesday. The tournament runs on till Friday.